having plenty of water because we stand being hydrated in the summer.
I've been doing cold brew teas.
Oh,
That's been really nice. I cold brewed some black tea, and I don't normally drink black tea. Yesterday, or I put it in the fridge yesterday. It's pretty phenomenal.
Mm.
Honestly, cold brewing is the way to go because like when you hot brew, you release tannins, and then it makes the tea taste bitter. Like 12 hours in the fridge.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep. All of that.
I confess I do like slightly bitter tea, but I also really love iced tea. I've been making some iced teas for the summertime.
I'm sorry. To leave this panel, I can't be here. I'll panel with you. I have to go.
I embrace other experiences. You know, you don't have to enjoy what I enjoy. We can be together separately and have different beverages. I appreciate that. That's totally fine. I'm not a beverage nationalist. We don't have to all have the same beverage. We don't have to fly the same beverage flag to be together.
Oh my God.
In this reading. Brilliant. I think we're ready. We're set up. I think all the streams are flowing. So we can begin our reading. Hello and welcome to this reading of From Breath to Word, Poetry and Mindfulness. My name is Rasha Abdul Hadi. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm currently the executive director at Splitless Rock, and I'll be acting as the gentle host, I hope, for today. I'm realizing I want to give a brief visual description in case that's helpful to anyone who's tuning in. I am wearing a bright blue t-shirt with Octavia Butler's face on it that says, "So be it, see to it." I'm very excited. I'm also wearing a rainbow kufiya. My hair is back in a ponytail, and I have on tortoiseshell glasses and bookshelves behind me. I am going to save some brief words, and then I want to introduce poets so that we can get right into the amazing poetry. So while I did not choose the topic or title for this session, I am feeling really deeply today what it means to center breath and word in an escalating respiratory pandemic, and while protests continue nationally and even globally against police brutality. I don't take this invocation of breath lightly, and I'm glad to work with all of these poets and with you who are tuning in to create a container to hold the depths that we are making our way through. So I don't want to delay too much longer getting to the poetry, and if we have time, maybe we'll have some time for discussion at the end. I want to start with our first poet for today, who is Malik Thompson. He is a Black queer man, proud to be from DC, a bookseller, anime fanatic, and workshop facilitator. You can find Malik's thoughts on literature via his Instagram account at Negro Literati. I'd like to introduce Malik. Malik, would you like to introduce Malik?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's that time, or wherever time period you're in at this moment. We're not all on Eastern time, and that's fine. So if you're earlier, then thank you for being here. Waking up this morning, it's really meaningful. I'm super excited to be reading poems, sharing that with you all. And Rasha, you have a document that will allow people to see the text of the poems, or am I mistaken on that?
That is correct. I'll see if I can switch over to drop that access document link in the public chat, but I'll be back.
Okay. Cool. And so when I think about mindfulness, in another life, I worked at this pretty terrible nonprofit. I think like many of us have, where that term I feel has been very gentrified, right? Like in the mindfulness world or that space of mindfulness, I usually think like white people wearing like yoga pants and elephant embroideries. Um, and I don't have a lot of connection to that personally. But I started when I was writing these poems. I'm going to be reading 3 new poems. I've been thinking of the spaces in my life where mindfulness has been most significant, um, and sort of breaking the mold of what mindfulness is and or can be. Um, and I realized that I brought a lot of mindfulness into my queerness, and the way that queerness is expressed, specifically through sex and seeking sexual partners. And I'm not going to explain it any more than that. And I'll let the poems speak for themselves. But these are my meditations on mindfulness. And Rasha, I guess I should let you know what poems I'm starting with. That will probably be helpful. So to begin with, I'm going to read the poem Foliage, if that's helpful. So this is Foliage. I enter a clearing of dark air and concrete. The dim-lit fountain splashes as its staggered lips gush with arcs of moonless water. There is peace here, or the illusion of it. Sparse stars, midnight sounds, the way even trees at night seem to be at rest. I recognize it in the way they prowl. A corona of lust coils around their limbs, each movement imbued with the allure of an incubus. Baldwin might say, "This is how your dungeon begins its quaking. Stifled desires thundering against the heart's seething drum, its rhythm splashing my insides with nightshade and swamp rose. O fallen luminous, bestow me your misted shroud as I undungeon what is wild and blooms wild inside me." So the poem for me takes place in a part of the Washington D.C. known as Malcolm X Park, and if you ever go there, it has this like really cool fountain that's like staggered, and like the water when it's working, it's not always working because it's super old, will like flow down in this really cool way. And at night, it becomes like a pretty popular cruising site. Let's see. Um, And I've been reading Adrienne Rich, really popular, prominent lesbian poet, amazing feminist, amazing person. And she wrote a poem entitled Gabriel that I personally haven't found in any of the collections I've owned by her. So I think it's probably an earlier poem in her oeuvre. And so this is Gabriel after Adrienne Rich. Of monsters, I've trusted many, and count the angels among them. Gabriel and his beautiful face framed in a ring of dark fire, how those flames coil and undulate, reminiscent of the serpent, its forked tongue the arbiter of Eve's first taste of sovereignty. The archangel visits me nightly, unspeaking beast fallen from the moon's unlit half, everyone's eidolon cloaked in the mythos of scripture. He blows a note into his celestial horn, a shrill, God-flecked sound. His message drenches his body, yet I pull further back. Um, those lines, his message drenches his body, are pulled directly from Adrienne Rich's original poem. And you can find that on the Academy of American Poets website. It's an amazing poem. I highly recommend reading it and learning from Adrienne Rich. And so this is my attempt at a prose poem. You probably see it on the doc. And I don't really have a title for it, so I guess the current title is like the first line as Google Docs dictate it. So yeah, today my work is that of rearranging my by human hands. If they remain in this image, I seek the God of or secluded park's beaten path are allowed freely. I've come to cherish the body chance, its double-edged memory.
We seem to be having a connection disruption with Malik. There we go. Malik is back.
I'm back.
Would you mind beginning that poem from the beginning? We were missing the first part of it, and we'd love to hear it.
Totally. Sorry about that. So again, today my work is that of rearranging my space, a kind of world making, a genesis initiated by human hands. If there be a God and we were made in this image, I seek the God of men who coil in night-kissed places, parked cars or secluded park's beaten path, anyone to ink freely. I've come to cherish the body, the flesh, in ways I once believed bereft of chance. As I work to undo, I don't know, the mess my bad habits have made. I set fire to an incense, sweep dust from the floor, offer a half prayer to a God I haven't yet found. Are you all hearing me? Is there like lag? Everything good? Thumbs up?
There's a little bit of lag, but you're coming through clearly now. So.
Okay, cool. And I will read one last short poem, and that will be that. Um, yeah. So this is a poem actually got published at a journal or online journal known as Voicemail Poems. It's a really cool publication where they take audio from someone. You like call and like you leave a voicemail. They take your audio, they take your text, and they publish both on their website. They're a really cool publication. I recommend checking out their journals and also submitting your stuff if you feel so inclined. You know. So this is August 16th, 2016, and August 16th is my birthday. So I am going to be 25 in 14 days. Just weird. Yeah, Marlena and I are birthday twins. Marlena's the person who's like on a coordinating committee of Outwrite. She is an amazing person. And because we're birthday twins. Yeah. So this is August 16th, 2016. We're in this city park, night drenched, my dude scalp pulsating beneath your finger pads. It's so dark I fail to see the distance, vision obscured with shadows and branches in an undulatory mid-August dance. I believe I can bloom in this fortress quiet, though I hear your heart slam itself against your chest, a one-time thing, only for your birthday. You murmur above a heaving rib cage. Praise be to the body's honesty, however quickly it may ash. Praise be to our largest star and the selves we tangle around it. Praises to the furtive touches of one boy to another, salvation nearly grasped in his ravenous palms. So thank you all for listening, for tuning in, and bearing with the technical difficulties. I'm really excited to hear from the other poets. Thank you, Rasha, for holding this space, and thank you, Tess, for your your work of making this a more accessible space.
Brilliant. I want to offer a round of applause if you're on video and you can't, and you're not on audio right now, to appreciate Malik. What a beautiful praise poem to end with, and what beautiful, stately, meditative reading to open us up with. Thank you. I'm feeling in my body and in my breath as I listen to the words. So I'm excited to turn to so we can introduce your next poet. So Amina Shakur is a queer, crip, sick, mad, fat, multiracial, multicultural artist, historian, culture critic, editor, and poet based in the Midwest, the US. Their scholarship focuses on issues of accessibility in art spaces and the ethics of representation of disability in art and popular culture. More about them can be found on their website at aminashakur.com. With that, I will pass to Amina.
Hello, everyone. Good day to you, whatever time you are in. I, too, am not a morning person, so. Like Malik, my initial reaction when I was asked to do this was, hey, this is really awesome. And then, oh, yeah, I have a mindfulness practice and I have a breathing practice. But actually, I feel like mindfulness is very much co-opted and watered down and misused. And so I was like, oh, gosh, now I have to write poems about it. It was a little more of a struggle than I anticipated. But I have a few short pieces. My first one, actually, I'm not real creative with titles, so it's just titled Mindfulness. So I think the goal is to tell you that mindfulness can save us, but I don't believe it's true. We cannot continue to fake it till we make it. Steal tools never meant to be used the way we do, act like it's a cure. For the big systems, we feel powerless within, like we can just breathe our way out of this oppression, solve poverty with some Eastern trick. Positivity will not save us from ourselves. Self-care isn't code. Now is not the time for talking about vibrations. We are past that stage. Get real about where you stand in this war, what you'll do to help us get free. And so then I said I actually have a breathing practice also, which I do. Among, you heard my bio, crip, sick, mad. Among my many, many things, I also I have several autoimmune issues, one of which is chronic bronchitis. So like right now I am in the midst of at least my 12th, perhaps 15th time of bronchitis in 2020. 2020 has been a rad year, right? So I actually have breath work that I do, both related to dealing with chronic upper respiratory things. And as somebody with PTSD, I have found that most coping mechanisms that are recommended for dealing with being triggered or trauma or those sorts of things don't really resonate very well for me personally, but breath work has always worked for me. So that's what this next poem is about. And it's so uncreatively titled Breath Work. Inhale 5 seconds, hold for 7. Exhale while counting to 8. Inhale, hold, exhale. Breathing is natural, so why am I so bad at it? I feel like I am holding my breath, waiting for the next crisis. Inhale 5 seconds, hold for 7. Exhale while counting to 8. Or inhale peace, exhale stress. Or is it exhale joy? Deep breaths, like when the doctor's listening to my crackling lungs, checking for pneumonia. Shake the inhaler, exhale until you feel empty. 2 puffs inhaled as deep as you can. Wait to see if your breath normalizes. What does that even mean? Normal breath. When was the last time breathing didn't hurt? Everyone is afraid to breathe now, even the people who laughed before there was a pandemic, and you ask them not to cough all over you. Remind yourself to breathe. Breathe, count, inhale, exhale, breathe. Close your eyes. Inhale 5 seconds. Hold for 7. Exhale while counting to 8. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Yeah, so my mindful breathing practice is repeating that a lot. And then my last poem is really short, and actually I wanted to start with a quote because this past week while I was working on these poems and thinking a lot and preparing for this, my friend, poet, author, performer, all around badass, Leah Lakshmi Pipzina Samarasina had posted to Facebook a quote that she had posted a few years ago. And I said, oh my God, that's so timely. Can I quote that for a poetry reading this weekend? So the quote is, mindfulness is when you want to hit someone in the face with an axe, but you don't do it. You just sit with those feelings. And I think particularly when we talk about the way mindfulness has been co-opted to be this very love and light, breathing peace out to the world, which, I mean, there's a place for that, don't get me wrong. But sometimes we forget that it's a lot harder than that. So my last poem is just real short. So let's be real here. All the mindfulness practices in the world will not quell our rage. Mindfulness is there to help us figure out how to use that rage strategically. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So much for having me.
Oh, thank you, Amina. I'm getting into my physical body. I was practicing the breathing as you were saying the poem. I was like, oh, I should do this. This would be helpful now. And I so appreciate you bringing Leah's quote in and really bringing the militancy of breath and the strategic direct action of breath into our space today. Thank you for that energizing reading. You're reminding me of my own meditation practice and a saying that I have heard in that, which is that every year of meditation, you earn 1 second delay between the thing that happens and your reaction to it. So just like 1 more second for every year that you invest, it's 1 more second of space in which you can decide how you want to respond. I'm going to introduce our next poet. How about that? Carlito Espuro is a queer, gender-funky Chicanx writer, born and raised in Palm Springs, California, organic certified, not really. He works in hybrid forms with a focus in fragmentation and focuses on the themes of family, gender, and memory through a multicultural lens. Espuro's debut chapbook, Boy If, was the winner of the 2019 Outwrite chapbook competition. That's the event you're at, and is available from Neon Hemlock Press. So you can find them on Twitter at A Little Manly, or really anywhere coffee is sold. Carlito?
Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you all for being here. Some of you at 10 a.m. Really appreciate it. Also, to my friends watching, please don't text me during this specific segment because I am reading off my phone and I love you guys, but please don't. Anyway, yes, breath and word. I'm going to be screen sharing. I will check the chat. So Dave can let me know if screen sharing is work or if we need to jump ship on that. So this is a go with the flow kind of reading. So all of that aside, we're just gonna jump into it. Do share. So with breath and word, so I get really nervous when I read. That's just anxiety for you. And of course that affects breathing and heart rate and all that fun stuff. So it's basically just imbued in my poetic practice that when I'm writing, I'm physically putting the breath in, because if I don't, I will forget to breathe. So this is from an archive project. This is called item 18. And I'll just read this one, and again, I'll check the chat, see if we can stop screen sharing. Notes. We tore the porcelain bed apart. The ritual of breaking bread in this one bed, becoming many, one piece becoming peaceless. They lay us to sleep. The wildflowers arrested. Our legacy, the air between these grains of sand. Dave. All right, I'm gonna hop off of screen sharing. So it looks like Tess isn't showing up. Again, thank you, Tess, for your work. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and read a couple of poems from Boy If. One of these is in the book and two of these are new, because we love new work sometimes. Actually, no, I'm just reading the new work. Anyway, yes, this one's for my cousin Marilyn. Boy, if you were found by those also forgotten, if she never had to look for you in the first place, you will never remember the first time she held you, but the brighter truth is her telling you she held on to that memory. There's somewhere between dreams and memory where a little girl holds a littler girl. There's truth in the breaths between wishes. There only ever is. Boy, if you remember this, she recognized you as a lost boy and taught you how to fly. And this one's called Boy and exclamation point. And it's for my friend Ari. Boy and desert and fucking pre-calc homework and so many nights shared in religious retreat centers up in the mountain. If I could call us anything, we would be trees. The kind that grow in the thin air of the highlands, so tall that you never see the tops of their crowns and ever only their sturdy trunks, their woven branches. And these are enough to know that they might be gods. Boy and boy before somehow still heard each other's names. On the other side of the sandstorm, boy and blooming in the spring, and everyone can hear how holy they are. And I'm gonna close out. It's a Google form poem, and I'm gonna show you briefly what it looks like, so I'm not like reading and showing at the same time, but basically 9 people filled out the Google form, which is rad, thanks to those 9 people. And I will be in real time analyzing that data to make the poem. And it's fun because once you get a new reply, the poem changes. Yes, so gonna go back to a share screen. Yes. Da-da. So just to show you what everyone was seeing when they filled out the Google form. And I'm just going to go ahead and read that way. everyone can hear and see tests. So it's called Conversation with Selves because everyone's pretty much talking to themselves, but also when I wrote it, I was talking to someone specifically. So question 1, I told you I wrote you a poem and asked if knowing that would be enough. You are a shard and you are lodged in my palm. I make it hard to do most things, and I, searching, we overwhelmingly are here and not here. They overwhelmingly are here and not here. Others make it so hard to do most things. Others are also searching. The shard is supposed to be somewhere else. Did you believe me? It is uncertain if you are beautiful. It is uncertain if you are a thing. No one exists. The truth is in the question. Please consider nutrition, the ways in which we can grow and sustain. 7. Please consider parting, how things can separate and become more, or become more in their lessness, or become less in their moreness, or can split and split and split until they become almost nothing, infinitely possible and impossibly finite, only ever being are. We believe in infinite possibility. If I asked you for an orange, would it be peeled or unpeeled? Free response. Unpeeled, peeled carefully. It would be whole. Unpeeled, complete in its natural packaging. It would be peeled in thumb-sized pieces because I can never get it to do that unbroken spiral thing. It would be half peeled. Peeled, why would I allow sticky orange juices down your palms? Again, I say halfway. Do you believe me? I would try for you, and I would try for you. At least I should, but not for you. Free response, orange. This is, for the most part, a loved poem, and in equal parts, it is an attempt, it is a love poem, it is never not enough. So yes, thank you so much, everybody. And with that, I will pass it on.
Oh, it's hard for me to get back to my unmute button. I get so excited and get feelings in my spine and my lungs. Whew. Thank you, Carlito. Oh, never not enough. I am just reveling in and want to reflect back the range of poetic styles we are getting to receive today, and just the different registers, all of them really enlivening, rich, that each poet is offering to us. So thank you. Y'all are getting like craft. This is experimentation. You're getting form, you're getting lineage, you're getting citations, you're getting geography in these poems. So I hope you are really appreciating as an audience all the different registers that the poets are offering. All right, I hope you're ready for your final poet for this reading. It is my extreme honor and pleasure to introduce a poet who's been featured in Split This Rock's Poem of the Week series, and whose poem in February of 2019, My Dead, just, like wrecked and rebuilt me. So I am so excited for this reading. Arisa White is a Cave Canem Fellow and the author of the full-length poetry collections, You're the Most Beautiful Thing That Happened, A Penny Saved, and Hurrah's Nest. Her poetry has been nominated for a Lambda Literary Award, NAACP Image Award, California Book Award, and Wheatley Book Award. She's the co-author of Biddy Mason Speaks Up, the second book in the Fighting for Justice series for young readers, which has won a Maine Literary Award, Nautilus Book Award, and an Independent Publishers Award. Forthcoming in 2021 from Augury Books is her poetic memoir, Who's Your Daddy? As the creator of the Beautiful Things Project, Arisa curates poetic collaborations that center narratives of queer people of color. She serves on the board of directors for Foglifter and Nomadic Press and is an assistant professor of creative writing at Colby College. Her website is arisawhite.com. Arisa.
Thank you so much. And it's so great hearing you all read. So I am going to read, okay, so for me what this kind of reading brought to mind, the idea of breath and mindfulness is a return. It's to kind of go back, recover, remind yourself, right? Sort of internalize and kind of pull apart those difficult pieces that not you, you know? So what I've done for this reading is I went back to pieces that I haven't been thinking of. And often during the summertime, I do a lot of revision. And so I worked on this long piece. This long piece is called Woke and Restless. It's a long poem in parts. And I started this in collaboration with a choreographer and an actress. So I'm going to be reading pieces from Woke and Restless. I am beat. I am bone beat. Beat these abuses, these monkeys on my back. These triggers beaten into my helixes, across these cells and out of my hands, beats, equal and greater than 10 million hearts. What is awake in my eyes? The toll of Black bodies ring. Do you see my look of Saturn? Well, do these lids not rest because I witness new anchors dumb us down? Do you see the ocean's floor? What is needed to get our uprisings to move at the same speed as the waves that occur in the wake of bullshit? Well, why would my mother say, God don't give you more than you can handle, when I showed her this cycle of too much wake and not enough sleep? Whose hands are these vases that hold my irises? Well, with my color and sex, how to catch a rapid eye movement when it's a fish that knows it belongs in water? Do you even have the insight to see me well? There is no night. Light comes in as soft as the wind lifts the curtains. Another day in succession, no division with my past, my breath picks up speed. Sometimes anxiety brings my hand to my chest, brings my knees to the carpet. The touch of those first rays reminds me, inhale, outhale. One step of a time, I'm a perfect me. My wounds have had their winters. I'm of brackish and ancestral stock. I'm a key to life rising. This life is breathtaking and I'm still here. When I was 9, dreams were taken from me. My mother's coughing blended with the hum of acting voices. I stared at the television and each cough raked up something from deep in her lungs. Her ribs were sore in the mornings. She wheezed like coarse sand rattled in her soft palate. The noise shaped like a conch shell. Steroids had her tossing and turning. Scar tissue knotted up her bronchial tubes, and I believed if I stayed awake, I could breathe my breath inside her, be her respirator. She'll come into my room, check that I was asleep, and I would pretend. My mother turned off the TV, turned off the static that made me sleepy, and soon I dozed off and arrived in a town of ash I waded through. The main streets quiet as bone. There was that silence of sky falling, these gray turbulent clouds. And just when I thought the stars would drown me, I woke to my mother coughing, putting on her slippers, coughing, tying her robe left to right, and she made one bunny air. Coughing, her feet shuffling to the coffee maker. Coughing at 5 a.m, a sound all too alarming. It's like I am at the wake for the part of myself who sleeps. She has gone from here and I am in the ripples of her passing. Some nights she is Sandra or Natasha or Rakia or Corin or Aura or Shelley or Chantel or Brianna or Charmel or Miriam or Melissa or Yvette or India or Tanisha or Darnisha, and I imagine her in the 3D of her dreams. Gold bracelets on her wrists that sing each time she gestures. Without fail, she looks at me, watches something in my eyes, contacts something that is the soul of me. She says, "Girl, what are you doing up?" I say, "The work of lifetimes." Sometimes we do each other's hair, grease our parts with Dax, and calm falls down my spine. I feel swaddled in her care. We give each other cornrows, put on beads, cap our ends with aluminum foil, and release our shakere. Sometimes the kettle goes off and we have tea, steam in our noses, and the bergamot is alive again, the water steeped in its flavors. Love is between us. I tap her fingers like ebonies and ivories, and we feel what is before us, what is great, great. And I offer honey to her tea. Each drop of the faucet sounds like woke, 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 and the day don't go down the drain. How long did they say it would take the waters to erode infrastructure, to soon take with her all land, the trees, dirt, buildings, streets, and the people surrendering to the rush of her freedom? And then I'll close with this lullaby for the woke and restless. I'm not gonna sing it. All this weather wants to test your skin, freeze it, breeze on it, make you hide and go dim. My child, I shine on you, my love from within. I got you like a drift that carries a feather. Death don't care you saw him, won't stop him if you're woke. Sweet child, I got you, the pieces I mend when you feel your heart is broke. Hush your eyes, rest body and mind in my embrace. I'm a warm, safe place, a hum and song that welcomes you to shore. And it's long overdue. Sleep, child, I got you. Sleep, child, I got you. Thank you.
Oh, wow. I had to wait a moment to come off of mute because I needed to scream first, and nobody needed to hear that in their ears. Wow. You all just got a lullaby. What a blessing to be blessed with, to enfold this reading. Thank you, Arisa. Thank you for saying the names of Black women. Thank you for calling us into the radical softness and tenderness of this defense of Black life, and for a love of Black life, and for the love of our lives gathered together here, and the care for so many bodies, so many people that we are holding together in this time. Oh, I'm gonna have to go cry after I get done hosting all of you. I'm gonna go play this video again and just have some time by myself where I don't have to be a public host. This is maybe one of my favorite readings ever. Don't tell anyone else that I said that. This will be on a video. I just told everyone. We have like 11 minutes, technically. So I wonder if folks want to just come off mute for a moment. You can breathe, you can share reflections with each other if you want to offer some crosstalk and appreciation, or we can just all do a breathing exercise and you could lead us. That would be beautiful. Ah, what a reading. I feel very full. I feel well exercised in my breath. Thank you.
It's hard to go off now because we've been going off in the chat just to peek behind the curtain to everybody. You know, fantastic reading, Jesus.
Oh, Marlena is saying she would love a breathing exercise. So we probably all have different ones. Amina, I don't know. You're our resident poet who led us through a breathing exercise earlier. I won't put you on the spot. You don't have to, but if you are feeling so moved, I think we would welcome it, or someone else could also offer it.
I don't mind doing it, but if somebody else has another one that they'd rather try, that would be awesome too.
Amina, go for it.
We're ready to be led. Take us there.
Okay, so I will say, actually, this is not my own. It's one that I was developing a course. I'm in grad school right now, and I took a teaching course for teaching in college someday, perhaps, right? Which is something that most professors never actually get a class on at all, and just totally make it up as they go. And so one of the things that I was doing when I was developing a course and a syllabus to go with it, you have to include all of your policies and all of that sort of thing, right? And I feel like a lot of syllabi, even though I know students don't really like their syllabus and whatever, I feel like I would like a more robust syllabus personally as a student. And so in my policies, I built in a lot of more supportive, helpful hints and things like that. And one of the things that I ended up deciding to do that was way above and beyond what was required, of course, was I created a little infographic because I said this course that I'm developing, people are going to get triggered in it. We're going to talk about difficult things, right? We're going to talk about racism, and we're going to talk about cissexism, and we're going to talk about homophobia and all of these things. And you know, you may be triggered, and I built it into like the calendar, like, hey, Here are your content notes for what you're going to read and what we're going to end up talking about and whatever. But sometimes you don't know. and you can't really prepare to be triggered, right? So I developed an infographic that was, here are some things that you can do when you are triggered in the classroom. Here are just some hints. You may or may not use these. You may have other coping skills that you use, but I want students to know right up front, in my class, you can walk out of class. I get it. It's okay. I'm not offended. You know, you can stand up and go to the back of the room and do some basic stretches to get back in touch with your body and feel grounded. Here are some ways to do that. One of the first things was I researched like what are breathing exercises, and I realized this 5-7-8 was one that I've been using because it's a kind of common one, and the numbers don't really matter. I mean, some people say they do, but I've seen variations on it. So I think you should find what really works for like your lung capacity and whatever too. But this is one that I put on there. And so it's become much more like a very conscious and mindful, this is my breathing exercise now, right? So, so it's, like I said, it's 5-7-8. So it's that you inhale for 5 seconds, you hold it for 7, and then you exhale for 8 seconds, which is really emptying you. And that is actually really difficult for me to do, but it was great practice for being able to appropriately use an inhaler. So,
That's great.
so if if you feel better, like closing your eyes or sitting up extra straight or just getting comfortable, like whatever works for you, everybody's kind of got their own thing. I find that trying to sit up straight really helps, like stretching my diaphragm, especially because I have terrible posture. So, so if you are ready to begin, we'll say inhale for 5 seconds. Hold it for 7. Exhale for the count of 8. And then, of course, you can always repeat. I find often, especially when I'm triggered, but even outside of that, even just struggling to fall asleep at night, various other times, I might repeat this 10 or 20 times. And I do think one of the things is that we live in a very rushed existence now. And much like I'm always telling people the importance, like Carlito had mentioned, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Probably most of us are not hydrating as much as we should. Most of us are not really breathing as deeply as we should, and having that oxygen flow that really gets through our entire body and our brains and all of that. And that was something I learned wrestling before I got the chronic bronchitis, just wrestling with allergies and feeling, exhausted all the time just from seasonal allergies, and trying to figure out why. Well, it's because if you're struggling to breathe, you're not getting appropriate oxygen flow to like power your body. And also, I would say sometimes I use it as a method to shut myself up. Because sometimes you need to do that. You need to just breathe and not try to be reactive.
Thank you. Be present with breath. One thing I feel aware of is how we don't have as much time to be silent together as when we might be sharing physical spaces. And at the same time, I'm so glad to receive everyone's voice and presence. We have one more offering. So Arisa has an affirmation.
I have a kind of call and response affirmation that helps to ground ourselves in the here and now. It's my compositional affirmation. So there are 7 statements I will say, and then you will respond by saying, I am here. So I will begin. You are here to receive and interact with the vitality of all the energies coming to you. I am here. You are here to transform what needs transforming and letting go what needs to be free. I am here. You are here to seek all that challenge you to be your authentic self. I am here. You are here supported and nurtured. I am here. You are here rooted to unlimited power and strength. I am here. You are here connected to higher worlds, to a collective mind, to a source of profound knowing. I am here. You are here in heart, your center, vibrating and oscillating with love. I am here. Thank you.
Ooh. And with that, we are at 1:29 p.m. on Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I want to offer thanks to all of our poets, Malik, Amina, Carlito, Arisa, to Tess, who's been doing ASL interpreting, to Marlena and Dave, who are co-organizers of the Outwrite Festival and who've been making all the technology happen on the back end. To all of you who tuned in to be present with us, either in real time or who are looking at this afterwards, may your breath be full, may you be supported in your breathing, may your breath speak into existence a world in which breathing becomes easier and more possible for all of us. Thank you all for being here. I will treasure this poetry, and I hope you take good care of yourself today and every day.
Thank you, Rasha.
Thank you.
Happy Outwrite.
Happy Outwrite.
Thank you, everyone.